What are the top 5 loadouts in Warzone? I'm here to answer that question, and I'm not going to be giving you cookie cutter answers. I'll be giving you all the best weapon, perk, and equipment combinations, and I'm even going to give you a bonus 6 class. You're going to want to stick around for all of them, especially number 1. Welcome back. I'm Austin, and the 6th best loadout is the XM4 and Lapa. These are 2 underrated weapons that aren't used nearly enough, and I want to start off by talking about the Lapa because that's the one probably most of you guys haven't even used. It is the perfect type of SMG for Caldera. It's versatile because it can be used up close and at mid-range while having elite mobility stats, making it viable in cities and in open areas. I'm going to be coming up on a 2v1 fight because my teammate gets knocked right here. And what you're going to be able to tell is that these enemies are going to be a little far away for an SMG fight normally. This guy's going to be about 25 meters away if I play it real quick, and this guy's 15. And what the Lapa does well is it still has a great TTK as this guy's trying to plate, and it is also super accurate, which makes it perfect for this type of map. And I'm going to try to exemplify that with the next clip over here, where I'm going to be knocking someone about 38 meters away, which I was trying out the kilo in this clip, which is still decent, but I wouldn't put it in a top 6 loadout. And right here, you're going to see the guy's running away, and he's going to be super far, but you see this thing still drops people super quickly, and you're going to see pop up right here, 38 meters away. And last fact I want to show is that even when you got low ground and someone's head glitched up top, you're still going to be able to beam them off and knock them quickly with this weapon. The reason that it's so good is because of its versatility. And for this Lapa setup, I built it out to be like a sniper support build because on this map, it already has elite mobility and we just need better range for all the open areas. So the Agent Suppressor is going to be the extended damage range as well as bullet velocity and recoil control. The compact barrel will boost the damage of the weapon. The Microflex LED is super important because the iron sights is the one downside of this weapon and they're disgusting. If I'm going to aim this weapon well, I'm going to need this Microflex LED. Field Agent Grip just going to make the weapon more accurate, and 50 round mag to make the damage per mag much better. Now the XM4 will not need much of an introduction because this was one of the fan favorites in the prior seasons of Warzone, and we're going to build it out just like a typical long range AR. And the reason it's so good is because the TTK on this is already good, but then you only need one next shot at long range to lower that down to be elite. If you want a full breakdown of the XM4 versus STG, I'll have a video linked in the description. Now if we go to the perks, these are going to be pretty much the same on every loadout, although I will be switching out Amped on a couple of the classes for Combat Scout. On perk 1, you guys are probably thinking EOD is the way to go, at least I know that's how a lot of people feel, but since they buff the damage of explosives, I don't see a need to use this. If you get hit by a grenade, regardless of having EOD, you're still going to lose most of your plates, and you're still going to be absolutely screwed in that fight. Whereas Double Time doubling the duration of your tactical sprint and increasing your crouch movement by 30% on this big of a map is going to be way more useful. Either way, Double Time is way more valuable. Obviously, we're using Overkill right now to get 2 primary weapons. I'll go over some other second perks that I'll use on my second loadout later on in the video. And now for the lethal, I just love the C4 because it's the anti-vehicle, and I'm just going to go C4 montage. Right?
Sending shots.
Nice. 3 of them.
Got them all.
Sending shots.
Nice. Good shit. Honestly lit.
God, I love C4! And for the tactical, the heartbeat sensor is still pretty good, but there's a few other things you can use instead, which I kind of flip this up depending on what class I'm using. Stim, heartbeat, snapshot, and stun. On this class setup though, I like to use the heartbeat sensor because it's still really good inside of cities and near buildings. The 5th best class setup is going to be the Cold War PPSH and Automaton, which is fully back as a meta weapon, as an absolute beam. The Cold War PPSH is similar to the Lapa, where it's versatile and it works up close and at mid-range while also having great movement. I have a full breakdown of its stats against the Vanguard PPSH, and that link will be in the description as well, and a quick clip showing how the Automaton and PPSH complement each other. I'm going to spot this enemy from about 40 meters away to begin with, and I'm going to get a knock really quickly, and I'm going to try to reposition to see what's going on inside the building and where his teammate's located. But all I can tell is that I think this guy's getting revived, and that's exactly what's happening, and I re-get the knock, and then I push over with my PPSH to use its movement and close range firepower to get the knock and a quick team wipe at the end of the game. Now quickly going over the long range Automaton build, what we're going to do is we're going to use the MX silencer over the Mercury silencer at the beginning because this one is going to hurt the damage range and they both help recoil, but this one only hurts the ADS, and since we aren't using this up close, I'm not going to worry too much about that. Because the weird fact about the Automaton is there's no attachments to actually help its movement speed, so it is going to be a little bit slow moving. You can make this thing an absolute beam, and that's pretty much what all of my attachments are geared towards, and Tight Grip is one of the best perks to do that because what it does is make accuracy and recoil during sustained fire amazing. This right here will add a little bit of recoil to the weapon. It isn't really too hard to aim if you're an average player, but if you're still having difficulty hitting your shots, I would just switch up to the 75 round drum. But this is going to be the best class setup for the automaton. Now if we switch over to the PPSH, as you can probably tell, this used to be the sniper support build, and then I kind of altered it to be between the close range and the sniper support. This thing has better movement as well as better accuracy. So the Grew Suppressor, we're going to use that to extend the range and bullet velocity and make it more accurate. Microflex LED just to make us more precise shooting people at 25 meters away. And now the Spetsnaz PKM stock is going to be all about our ADS movement speed and strafe speed. And we got the 71 round drum just to make this thing have a big clip and have really good damage for mag. And the Bruiser Grip is going to give us hip fire accuracy for up close as well as plus 3% movement speed across the board. This thing you're going to be flying around the map with, and you're going to be able to be beaming kids from 25 meters away. Now the perks are going to be exactly the same. Lethal still C4, and then the tactical is going to be a snapshot grenade, which I'm going to show you a clip of why this thing is so underrated right now. As I'm turning the corner, I'm going to see my teammate knock this enemy right here. So what that's going to mean is we're going to have a 2-on-2 at the end of the game where there's 2 solos playing, and there's pretty much only this one building and zone. So what I'm going to be doing is throwing down a snapshot here to see where the enemies are located. And you're going to see both of them highlight on the map. One's on the roof and one's in the building right around the corner. And the good news about this is my teammate downstairs actually gets both of these highlights on their screen as well, meaning we both know which enemy to take. I'm going to quickly go around the corner, limb this guy because I know he's sitting in this corner. Easy, free kill. And we're going to get a free win just because of snapshot grenades. I throw an extra one just to be safe, make sure he's still laying up there. Boom, teammate fries him, Warzone victory. And for this, what we're going to want to do is actually use the restock perk on our second loadout so we get infinite snapshots, and they're just so broken at the end of the game because your teammates know where everyone is. Class setup 4 is going to be the Bren and Owen gun. The Bren is still OP even after they nerfed the Queen's Royal Barrel, which used to give you infinite range, but now it only gives you a 50% boost. But that still means you're going to have 75 meters of range before the TTK falls off. And if you want an in-depth breakdown of the Bren versus DP27, I'll have that linked in the description as well. Now for the Owen gun, which isn't too popular right now, but it should be. My main gripe with it was how the magazine would cover up half your screen, and I'm going to show you actually how to fix that problem. Now this happens no matter what zoom optic you have. It's going to cover half your screen with the mag, but with this M38 slate reflector optic, see what happens once I toggle to the slate reflector on this. Boom, it lowers the weapon on the screen, knocking the 72 round mag out of your face. Clear vision, and this thing fries up close and at mid range, as you're going to notice with most SMGs inside of these best class setups. For the Bren, we're pretty much just making this as accurate as possible as well giving it the best range. So the Queen's Royale Barrel we already went over, 75 meter range is what this does to the weapon. Super useful. Oaken Shield pads for initial recoil and flinch resistance, which are super key on making this weapon perform its best. Tight Grip is the best perk you can have on any long range weapon. Polymer and hand stop are just geared towards making the weapon wobble less. 40 round mag increases the fire rate as well as the recoil and accuracy, making it way more forgiving because the faster the fire rate, the less missing shots affects your TTK. And of course we got lengthened. Now for the Owen gun, what we try to do is increase the close range TTK as well as giving it better movement, because those are the two things it needs help with the most. So what we're going to be doing is increasing the fire rate with this Gorenko 72 round drum, as well as adding Incendiary on it so we get the little bit extra fire damage, as well as allowing us to switch from Amped to Combat Scout as our third perk, which I'll get into in a second. And then for the movement, we got Acrobatic and Quick to make this thing move really quickly, along with Remove Stock. And now for the third perk, I'm going to explain why Incendiary with Combat Scout is so OP. I'm going to play this clip live speed, and you just tell me why you think that this is such a powerful combination. So now I'm just going to go back about 10 seconds, and we're going to see why this is so broken. So once I tag this guy, what Combat Scout does is it's going to highlight the enemy. But what Incendiary does is it's going to take away health for an extra 750 milliseconds. First off, that doesn't allow them to plate, and second off, that means I'm doing damage for an extra 750 milliseconds, meaning they're going to stay highlighted that much longer. So normally what you would do when you weaken a guy like this, you would start to attack sprint and chase them around a corner like this, but what Combat Scout allows me to see is I can see this guy start to turn back around, so I come out of my tac sprint and just aim down sights, and I get the freest kill ever. If I was stuck in a tac sprint right there, I would have been killed. For class setup number 3, we're going to have the STG-44 and Kar 98 from Vanguard, and you guys are probably a little bit shocked that I'm not using the Swiss or the Modern Warfare Kar 98, and the sniper choice has a lot to do with its super fast ADS, and I just keep on hitting shots from 300 meters away, as you'll be seeing in this clip right here. For some reason, it just seems to be hitting really hard from really far away, but it doesn't have a better bullet velocity than the Swiss, and it doesn't have great body shot damage. So I'm not exactly sure why, but this setup I got on it feels really great, and we can't hold the breath on it, so I built it out to have no sway on the optic because I have this 4 to 8 times optic on it. And the reason I have that is because it's actually a little bit busted right now, and it somehow breaks the game and it makes the ADS faster than it should be. So then everything else is going to be built out towards aiming stability, aim walking steadiness, granular grip. So you see aiming stability. So that's how you get rid of the sway. You put on fleet. So instead of using amped, I can use Combat Scout with this STG-44 class setup, which does have Incendiary on it. And then what we got to do here is have the 45 round Russian short mag because it gives us bullet velocity, range, and damage to actually give the TTK a little bit of a boost. This weapon is a little bit slow to run around with, and since it's going to be our most mobile gun with a sniper, I put on acrobatics so we get the movement and sprinting move speed up, and you're going to be moving around a little bit better. And the thing that's so great about this STG is that you can feel comfortable fighting people 50 plus meters away, and you're going to have no problem. I'll show a little clip right here of just an in-game one-on-one fight where normally with a sniper support weapon you'd think you'd have to snipe, but because this thing's so accurate, you can just beam the kids.
Just gun him with the STG. Oh, why are we getting fancy with it?
I don't know, man. Yeah, you're right. Like, the STG is so accurate. And now for the end, we got double time still. And then for the lethal, this is where it's actually changed up. Throwing knife is the most valuable lethal to have on a sniper class because you only have 45 bullets in this STG, meaning you can't waste your bullets capping someone. You're going to throwing knife them to get the cap instead of wasting your ammo and having to reload. And for the second best class setup, I got the DP27 and MP40. The MP40 is still the most used gun in Warzone, so I won't bore you with it for too long. It's great up close and at mid-range, just like all the other SMGs I've been recommending so far. If you want an in-depth look at the MP40 versus OTS, I'll have it in the description. Now, the DP27 is an LMG that isn't used nearly enough, and I'm just going to show a quick clip of this thing shredding people. This guy's pretty close, gets instantly dropped. This guy's about 20 meters farther away, dropped. Then all of a sudden, I'm capping this guy, don't even see the next one, and I somehow break their armor. So overall, the DP27 doesn't really have any recoil, has a huge 105 round clip, and it just fries everyone. As you can see, it's just going to keep on going, but I'll stop the clip. For this setup, all we're trying to do is make it as accurate as possible during sustained fire, because that's what LMGs are meant to do, be suppression weapons. So that's why we put the 105 round mag on there, because it doesn't affect the fire rate or damage or anything. And the hard scope perk is there instead of tight grip, but this is accuracy and recoil during sustained aim down sight, although it still has a really good TTK at close range of 600 milliseconds, which is better than pretty much any Vanguard assault rifle. And so then we have the Empress VCV for our sustained fire, as well as when we're mounted, crouched, or prone, aim down sight for a long period of time and mounted up on something, it's literally not going to move. And we have the 3 to 6 times optic for when we're fighting out at those really long ranges. And then pretty much everything else is pretty straightforward. We got lengthen for the better bullet velocity, Carver foregrip for recoil control, and now we're going to just move over to the MP40 setup. And there's 2 attachments that are really important here, and that's going to start with the recoil booster, which all it does is increase the fire rate and doesn't affect the damage, which is how you get the good TTK on this weapon. The base weapon is actually trash, so you got to make sure you have on the recoil booster as well as the 45 round mag, because then we actually get a pretty solid fire rate of 743 rounds per minute instead of 600. Now, since we're using this at close range and the iron sights are good, for the optic, we're actually going to be just switching up the iron sights because this actually improves our aim down sight speed, and that's what's super important on these weapons. Throw on brace for initial firing recoil. That way it's a little bit more versatile and really good to use out to 20-25 meters. And then we got the quick perk for sprint speed. Everything else, we're basically gearing this up towards movement and accuracy. And this weapon just fries. I'm sure you guys already all know that. And then for the perks, we had Incendiary on the MP40, so we got Combat Scout on here. And then we have C4 as usual, and I threw on stuns for this one. And finally, my number 1 class tip that I've been waiting to tell you guys the Milano and Cooper Carbide. Now, no one uses the Milano because they're using it wrong. This is honestly my favorite weapon in the entire game. I just can't believe that no one else knows about this secret. You have to use the Milano as a long-range weapon and not an SMG. First clip I want to show you is this clip of me taking out a whole team with the Milano. This first guy was easy, not expecting anything. But now up here, I see this guy as a head glitch. I reposition to get the advantage. And as you can see, this gun doesn't really have any recoil. And this next guy starts shooting me first, and I still drop him easily. On this clip, I noticed the enemy buy up their teammates down at the fire sale with this buy station. The zone's on my back. I go to kill this guy, and my teammate starts to say this.
I don't know. Oh, you're a beam. You're a beam.
And I'm really not that much of a beam. It's just this Milano has no recoil. You can see I have 15 kills with 54 people left in the lobby. Now I get a 20 bomb this game. The Milano and Cooper Carbide is the best aggressive class in the entire game. And what I'm actually going to tell you to do is on your second loadout, get restock and make sure to put on snapshot grenades so you can just throw those around. It's the perfect aggressive setup. Now for the Milano, as a normal AR setup in Cold War, you throw the agency suppressor on and the task force on there to extend its range, and we get strafe speed, action arms 3 times, damage per mag, and field agent grip to just make this thing have no recoil. And the reason this is so good is because you're getting SMG movement on your long range weapon, which means when you're sprinting and chasing someone, you get the SMG sprint-to-fire, you get the SMG sprinting speed, you get its ADS. You're basically going to outgun everyone because you're going to be able to lock onto them first, and you're going to be able to start shooting first. Now the Cooper Carbide, what do we do here? We have fleet on this thing, so we get the fast weapon swap without needing amped, and we can put on Combat Scout, because aggressive class you need snapshots and Combat Scout. That way you basically are getting walls from a perk, and you're getting walls from your tactical grenade. What you're going to be doing is increasing the fire rate to give this thing the top time to kill up close. So the Cooper Custom plus fire rate doesn't reduce damage. So that's just straight up increasing your time to kill. Compressed rounds, same thing. Increases fire rate, doesn't affect damage. You're just increasing the time to kill. These are really busted attachments, which is why the Cooper Carbide is the best AR at close range. Now, you get the 60 round drum, which also increases your fire rate. So this thing is actually going to have over 1,000 rounds per minute with these 3 attachments, which is completely busted on an AR. And now everything else is kind of geared towards making it still accurate so we can use it at mid-range if we have to, or giving it better movement speed like the remove stock. Literally, it says plus movement speed, sprint to fire, and ADS, which are all really key for close range weapons. This is going to be your best aggro class, and I can't wait for you guys to try this out. And please tell me how you're enjoying this. This is by far my best class if I want to get 20 plus kills in a game. And if you want to see another video comparing weapons, I have a video linked right here. Peace.